Chancellor, we come to the conferment of our second honorary graduand. Chancellor, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Fariba Alamdari, a woman of great capability in the aerospace and wider aviation industry. A woman assured and confident in the aviation business world in which she operates. A woman who is not afraid to step out of one career in academia into the cut and thrust world of industry on the other side of the Atlantic with Boeing. And a woman who is a keen advocate and supporter of Cranfield. Fariba spent many years at Cranfield, both as a student and as an academic. She has more degrees and awards at Cranfield than most. She gained her master's in air transport management, leading to the award of a PhD from Cranfield in economic impact in airline deregulation. Her reputation as an expert, a manager, and a leader at Cranfield goes before her. And there was no real surprise that she progressed through the academic grades to become head of department of air transport and dean of Faculty of Engineering, Science and Manufacturing. I know that both staff and students from those days at Cranfield still have enormous respect for her and what she has achieved. I am sure it was with mixed feelings that the university lost her to industry in 2006, when the headhunters from Boeing came hunting. It was a testimony to her and the capability that she had built at Cranfield that she secured the role of vice president at the Boeing Commercial Aircraft Group in Seattle. At the time, it was probably not a straightforward decision for her. Very much a family person, married with a son and daughter, changing everything and moving everyone out to Washington State. But taking these type of courageous decisions is what distinguishes Fariba from others, not afraid to take new challenges on. Her appointment into Boeing is an interesting story in its own right. She was promoted twice in Boeing before she even started there. She had a good job at Cranfield, so a good bargaining hand after the first interview when offered the role. When she politely declined the offer, Boeing immediately offered her the next position up. In the process of negotiating terms, to her great surprise, she was flown out to meet with the seniors of the company who offered her the next position up again. As I say, 2 promotions before even starting, an indication of the talent she was bringing to the company. I liked one story I heard from her first days at Boeing, the car park story. Joining Boeing as a vice president is a great honor and brings certain privileges of status with it. Fariba is not a status-driven individual, and when she turned up and was told by the security folk that here was her car parking space and her nameplate would be added, she protested. In typical style, she said she didn't want a named parking space. But this was too much for the Boeing culture of the time. She had to have a space. She argued that if this was to be the case, then she would have a space at the back of the car park rather than the front, so that she could walk through the car park and meet her colleagues as she walked to her office. She is very much a people person, a legacy that remains very much to this day in air transport in this university. She's a consummate networker, the sort of person who doesn't just use networks, but creates them. Let me introduce Person X to Person Y is one of her hallmarks. I experienced this firsthand when I joined the university, and Fariba introduced me to many others in Boeing and across the industry. As a Cranfield alumni, she has been faultless in representing the university and making good connections across the aviation industry. Fariba is a role model for many entering the industry for the first time. She illustrates what can be achieved in this great aviation industry to which we are part of. She is a tireless ambassador for the university. And so, Chancellor, I'm authorised by the Council and the Senate to ask you to confer on Dr. Fariba Alamdari the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
I'm delighted to offer you the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ian, for such kind words. It brought tears to my eyes. Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, faculty of Cranfield, staff, students, graduates, families and friends, and honorary guests, good morning. It is a great privilege for me to be here today and receive this degree on a day that we will always remember. To prepare to come here, I searched my heart and my mind for what I should say to you today, something profound, something memorable. Then I remembered this study by Microsoft, indicating that these days we have the attention span less than a goldfish. And by the way, the goldfish attention span is 9 seconds. So I thought it doesn't matter what I say today, you won't remember it anyway. So dear graduates, while I have your attention, congratulations to all of you for receiving your MSc and PhD based on your hard work and perseverance. I know for sure it's not easy to get master and PhD at Cranfield, and you know that. Congratulations to families and friends for the support you provided. They couldn't be here without your support. And last but not least, congratulations to faculty of Cranfield for sharing your hard-earned knowledge so effectively with your students. I have attended Cranfield graduation in the past as a student, as a family member, and as a faculty member. 32 years ago, I sat in your seats. I know it's hard to believe because I don't look that old. Thank you. Receiving my master's degree and 4 years later, my PhD certificate, I remember those moments vividly when I wore the graduation gown with a lot of pride, with a lot of excitement, particularly when I was anxiously waiting to come up to the stage and make sure I have a good photo while I am walking over. My husband Farshad, who is here, he's the former chief scientist of Building Research Establishment in the UK, also received his master and PhD from Cranfield. And today, Chancellor, I am honored to receive this honorary degree. Thank you. Cranfield has been a platform for many successful executives all over the world. And I have no doubt that today there are many executives and CEOs amongst you. Remember what I said when you reach there. I am so tempted to use this moment and give you some career advice for the future. But instead, I'm going to ask you for help We need your help in many areas, but I'm going to focus on one. That is embracing diversity wholeheartedly. You have received a global education than any previous generation. Put that education into good use. Help us to take a broader perspective. Help us to see individuals beyond their nationality, gender, age, or any other orientations. In my life, I have learned that one of the keys to success is understanding that diversity is an asset, is not a liability. It provides fresh perspective. It grants power to see things differently. We are going through a transformational change in globalization, and we will require fresh and new thinking. Therefore, help us to see global integration as a force for good. We need to realize embracing diversity is absolutely the right things to do for both individuals and businesses. At Boeing, we have about 200 commercial airline customers worldwide in 150 countries. 70% of our revenue comes from outside the US. We have over 150,000 Boeing employees across the US and in more than 65 countries. We contract with more than 20,000 suppliers and partners globally. That has helped us to be at the forefront of innovative technologies. McKinsey & Company research has found that companies in the top quartile for the racial and ethnic diversity are 35% more likely to have financial returns above their industry norms. And for gender diversity, they are 15% more likely to have financial returns above the respective national industry medians. I said I'm not going to give you a career advice. However, if I was going to do so, I would have said, don't stay in your comfort zone for long. And don't let fear dictate your career choices. If you think you can do it, just go for it. Just jump in the cold water. You will be surprised how good you can swim. My journey to where I am has not been without challenges. When I moved from Tehran, where I was born, to the UK, when I was raising 2 children while continuing with my postgraduate education, when I was accepting more responsibilities in my various research and faculty positions at Cranfield, and when I decided to join one of the large corporate American companies, Boeing, each of these challenges overwhelmed me with doubt, with worry of failure. But learning to embrace these challenges and many others, as well as taking calculated risk, has helped me tremendously. I have learned that we have much more ability, flexibility, and adaptability than we seem to think. So be courageous and let your passion drive your choices. And finally, if I have one wish for you, is that when you remember today, when you remember your graduation later in life, you will be able to do so with satisfaction and pride, and see that the choices you made not only bettered you, it bettered others, and it bettered our society. Thank you very much, and congratulations to you all.